Today we are talking about one of the most powerful and controversial stocks in the market right now, Palantir Technologies. This is a company that has gone from being viewed as a niche government software provider to becoming one of the most important public market AI names in the world. And the reason the market continues to pay attention is simple. Palantir is not just growing, it is growing at a scale that very few software companies can match, while still posting elite profitability and cash flow. At the same time, Palantir is also the kind of stock that creates a split reactions. Bulls see a rare software compounder with a real business model, a deep government moat, and a rapidly expanding commercial opportunity. Bears see a stock that has already been buying up so aggressively that even great results may not be enough to justify the multiple. So that tension is exactly what makes Palantir such a fascinating stock to analyze right now. So what I want to do in this video today is to break the stock down in a practical way. I want to focus on what the company has actually been doing, what investors should be watching for in the upcoming earnings report, what has changed since the Q4 2025 print, and how the recent Trump-related activity adds another layer to the narrative. And this is not about hype, it is about understanding whether the current fundamentals still support the story the market is telling itself. So please, if you like such videos, please like, share and subscribe, and also we shall see what it takes for Palantir stock to hit $500 from here. Now, what Palantir actually is. Palantir is still often misunderstood even by people who follow the stock closely. On one side, it has a long-standing relationship with government customers, especially in defense and intelligence. On the other side, it has been pushing aggressively into commercial software, where its AI-driven platform is being used to help enterprises make decisions, organize data, and automate workflows. That combination matters because it gives Palantir two different growth engines. The government side provides credibility, scale, and a sticky customer base. The commercial side provides the opportunity for much faster expansion if the software continues to gain adoption across industries. This is why investors are willing to assign Palantir a premium valuation, and the market is not just buying current revenue, it is buying the idea that Palantir could become one of the defining enterprise AI platforms of the next decade. And unlike many AI stories, Palantir already has real revenue, real margins, and real cash generation to back up the narrative. Now, why the market loves it? The reason Palantir continues to command so much attention is that it started to do something extremely rare in software: grow fast without sacrificing profitability. In Q1 2026, the company reported revenue growth of 85% year-over-year to $1.63 billion. US revenue grew 104%, and US commercial revenue growth was 133%. So at the same time, it posted a GAAP net margin of about 53%, an adjusted operating margin of about 60%, and an adjusted free cash flow of $925 million. So that kind of combination makes Palantir investors sit up. High growth is nice, high margins are nice, but when both happen together, the market tends to revalue the business much more aggressively. And that is what has been happening to Palantir, and that is why every earnings report now becomes a major event. So, looking at the Q2 setup for 2026, Palantir's next earnings release is scheduled for August 3, 2026, after the market close, with a webcast set for later that day. That means the stock has a clear catalyst in front of it, and investors are already trying to position around what the company may say about growth, margins, and guidance. The biggest thing to remember is that expectations are now very high, and after a quarter like Q1 2026, the market is no longer simply asking whether Palantir can beat low estimates. It is asking whether the company can keep compounding at a speed that still supports a premium multiple. And that is a very different kind of setup. Now, what I would be watching in earnings, the first numbers I would watch is total revenue growth. Q1 2026 was 85% growth, which is exceptional, and the market wants to see the momentum continue without any major deceleration. The second number is US commercial revenue. That has become the most important growth engine in the story because it shows whether Palantir can win in the private sector, not just in government. The third is free cash flow. Palantir generated 925 million of adjusted free cash flow in Q1, which is a huge number relative to the company's size and helps support the argument that this is not just a story stock. The fourth number is going to be margins. Investors want to know whether the company can preserve elite profitability while continuing to scale. Q1 2026 showed extremely strong adjusted operating margins and net margin, which is a big reason the stock has stayed strong. And the fifth thing is guidance. Even if the quarter itself is strong, the stock may still react to how management frames the rest of 2026. Now Q4 2025 as the benchmark. Q4 2025 is the cleanest comparison point because it set a very high bar for the company. In that quarter, Palantir reported revenue growth of 70% year-over-year to 1.41 billion. US commercial revenue grew 137%, adjusted operating margin was 57%, and adjusted free cash flow was 791 million. So this quarter mattered because it showed Palantir could scale while still producing highly efficient economics. The Rule of 40 score hit 1.7%, which is an extraordinary figure and reflected the company's ability to combine top-line growth with strong profitability. So when you compare Q2 2026 expectations to Q4 2025 actuals, the main difference is not that the business is weaker. The main difference is that the base is now much larger and the company wants to see whether the market wants to see whether growth can continue to compound from an already powerful level. So in other words, Q4 2025 proved the story. Q2 2026 needs to prove durability. If you're benefiting from the video so far, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. Now let me come to the Trump factor. Let's talk about the recent Trump-related angle because that has become part of the story. CNBC reported that President Trump bought Palantir shares in early 2026 before later praising the stock on Truth Social. From a fundamentals standpoint, that does not change the business, but from a sentiment standpoint, it absolutely matters. A public endorsement from a sitting president can create more attention, more retail interest, and more narrative-driven trading around the name. So it also reinforces the political and strategic identity of Palantir. So this is already a company that lives close to government, defense, and national security. So when the president is linked to the stock, it becomes even more visible as a politically strategically relevant AI software name. There is a risk to that too, that more attention can be good in the short term, but it also means more volatility when sentiments shift. Now we cannot forget to talk about the valuation debate. That valuation is where people tend to split the most. Bulls argue that Palantir deserves a premium because it is one of the few large cap software names still delivering explosive growth and strong profitability. Bears argue that the market has already priced in a lot of perfection and that the stock could be vulnerable if growth merely normalizes. That is why Palantir remains such a difficult stock for traditional valuation frameworks. However, the right way to think about it is probably scenario-based. In a bull case, Palantir keeps compounding fast enough that the premium is justified. In the best case, growth slows but remains healthy, and the stock stays range-bound at a high valuation. In the bear case, the growth rate decelerates more sharply, and the multiple compresses. And why this is not just a government story, a lot of investors still think Palantir is mostly a government contractor, but that framing is too narrow now. The Q1 numbers show why. Commercial revenue, US commercial revenue growth was 133%, which is the kind of data point that proves the company is becoming much more than a public software vendor. Now, let's see Palantir stock and the Trump huge announcement, how it could lead it to 500. Now, to get Palantir to $500, the stock would need a very large mix of earnings growth, revenue compounding, and multiple durability over several years. Now, a reasonable way to think about it is that Palantir would likely need to become a much larger company with sustained 30%, 60% plus annual revenue growth for a long period, while keeping very high margins and convincing the market it deserves a premium software multiple. And this is possible. I repeat, this is possible. What this $500 implies, at roughly the price levels implied, $500 would mean Palantir needs to multiply many times over from here. And this may not be a 1 year or 2 year target. It is more likely a multi-year outcome, and only if the company keeps compounding at an exceptional rate or sustaining strong cash generation and margin expansion. So what would have to happen for Palantir to get anywhere near the $500? I would expect most of the following to be true. Revenue keeps compounding at a very high rate for years, not quarters. US commercial growth stays extremely strong and becomes a bigger part of the business mix. And this one, I know that there's a high probability that it's going to happen. Free cash flow and operating margins remain elite, so the market keeps rewarding the stock with a premium multiple. And also, the company continues to win government and enterprise deals. And also, investors continue to view Palantir as a top-tier AI platform rather than a cyclical hype trade. So, what is the time frame now? A realistic time frame from now is that even with the strong bull cases for Palantir, this could take 3 to 5 years. So my estimate would be that first bull case would be about 3 to 5 years if growth stays extraordinary and the market keeps expanding the multiple. And my more realistic best case would be 5 to 10 years if the company keeps executing, but growth generally normalizes. So that is it for now. What do you think about my thesis? And please like, share, and subscribe to hit this information to more people. And remember to place your future in God's hands. Thank you. See you then.